All right, well, welcome into the Calling All Brides podcast. I'm your host, Joe Cirillo, and I'm with our other host,
DJ Michael.
Well, do we have another great episode for you today? We are going to talk about the length of your wedding. Oh my goodness, Michael, let me just tell you, I get this question all the time, and just a little history for our viewers and our listeners. So not only am I a videographer, but I also own a DJ company and actually book Michael on his events. And so I see all these quotes that come in. And so the first question that I see, on these quotes is, I want my DJ for 8 hours. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you want your DJ for how long?
Yeah.
8 hours?
Yeah.
Guys, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the length of your wedding. So the very first thing that you need to think about is there is more than just, showing up to the wedding, okay? There's more than just showing up to the ceremony and attending the reception. It starts way before that, earlier in the day, okay? So especially for your guests, and that's the first thing I really want to touch on today is on the guests. So you may have out-of-town guests, or you may have in-town guests. You have some guests that fly all the way, across the country.
Sure.
Might even come from another country, who knows, But they are coming to your special day, and you got to kind of be respectful of that time, right? And being because, you got to get ready for a wedding, right? Yeah. So let's just say the wedding starts
at... to do my hair, man.
I know, you're right. Well, me too, But no, in all seriousness, let's just say the wedding's going to start at 6, and the reception's going to end at 10, okay? So we're looking at about a 4-hour wedding, right? Well, okay. We're gonna probably start getting ready. Let's see, if we got to get to if the wedding starts at 6, we're gonna probably be there by 5:30, 5:45, right? Because we want to get there time. We want to get seated, all that kind of good stuff. We're not rushed. We don't want to miss the ceremony, right? Exactly. So let's just say we get there at 5:30. All right, we got some travel time, right?
Right.
I mean, even if you're a guest that you're at a hotel or something like that, but you might be even in the same city and traffic, wreck, something happens. I mean, heck, where we live, there's a wreck every single freaking day. Right. So that could delay you an hour. So now we're looking at like 4:30-ish before, okay? Now we got to get ready, right? Now, I mean, I don't have as much hair as you do, so washing the hair is not going to take long.
With the makeup and do these shoes match and all the stuff you got to do. Yeah, honey, you look great. Let's just go.
We're talking at least an hour to get ready, at least. Okay, and one thing I didn't even think of mention is I have 2 girls, right? Well, I mean, my girls are older now, so they could actually come to the wedding if they're invited, but you might have younger children, so you might have to get a babysitter, and now you got to drop them off before you leave and all that kind of stuff. Yep. I mean, guys, we are talking about, we're at like what, 3 o'clock now?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 o'clock, maybe even 2:30, So now we're, if I do my math correct,
we're 3 hours in before you ever get there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so now we get there, we're at our awesome ceremony, it's beautiful.
It's 30 minutes-ish.
Right, all right, so cool. And then usually some sort of cocktail hour or something while pictures are going on for bride and groom, all that kind of good stuff.
Usually about an hour.
And, so then it's going to be time to eat and do all that, do the formalities of the wedding, and then we'll finally get into the reception, maybe about 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
And so we've got 2 hours worth of dancing left or something like that, right? Maybe some cake cutting and all that kind of good stuff. But, so now if they attend that full wedding, 4 hours, right? And we said we started at roughly 3 hours before that. So 1 hour, we're at 7 hours.
Yeah, they love you, but not that much.
Right. They've committed 7 hours of their day to be with you. That's a lot, guys. And so that's why, the number one reason we say, really think about that time. When you're thinking about your wedding, because if you're going for an 8-hour wedding, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, somebody be getting ready at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some diehards that are going to stay, but it's going to be a very small crowd. They're going to get way too intoxicated. And the DJ is going to say, oh my God, what do I play next? Because he's just going to run out of stuff. And it's like DJ hell. The ones that go too long, because you've already played all the good stuff, and now you're just really scrambling. And no DJ wants to be a personal jukebox for 5 drunk people at a table. Hey, Bo, play some Skinner. We just don't want that, right? So
you can't tell we're from the South, right?
Yes, right, exactly. But it happens. I think northern people do that, right? But be respectful. And I've got an event coming up, in fact, where the groom's adamant he wants me for 7 hours. He's got 47 guests. 7 hours. and he wants me to keep them entertained.
Guys, it's not gonna happen.
And the worst thing a DJ hates, or a band or whatever, is when, like, we had a wedding this past Saturday. Beautiful venue. They spent a ton of money. Golf carts shuttle y'all around. It's like Disney World. This place is awesome. The weather for South Carolina was absolutely, it's Memorial Week, it was horrible. 60 degrees. And not just rain. It came at an angle. So on the golf cart. So my point is, people left early. You know, and the bride and groom, they shut it down an hour and a half early. And I don't like the feeling like, do I give them a refund? I mean, I'm under contract. And that doesn't come up a whole lot. But it's something to think about. Don't lock that DJ in. Don't lock the photographer in. All these people that you're paying by the hour if you're not going to use them.
Right. Exactly. So, something else to think about is the day of the week. I mean, if we're talking about a Sunday wedding, if we're talking about a Friday evening wedding, sometimes, hey, there's weddings Mondays now. I mean, we see them all kinds of days, So not just typically your Saturday. I mean, you really have to account for that. I mean, if you got a 6 o'clock wedding on a Friday night, I mean, people got to get off work.
Yeah, they're not going to stay as long.
Nah.
I mean, I love my Friday weddings. They're kind of like quick and easy. People have a good time. They're not going to linger around.
No, same thing with a Sunday. I mean, think about it. Okay, if the wedding starts at 5, 6 o'clock on a Sunday and it ends at, say, 10 o'clock, we got to get ready for work.
They're done by 9.
Kids got to get ready for school. Yeah. We got laundry to do. Yeah. I mean, all the Sunday chores you got to do before you get ready for work on Monday.
The Sunday weddings never go late at all. So.
No. And, also, alcohol. That's a big factor.
Yeah, how much? That's a big thing. Are you going to pay? Are you going to let people drink for 7 hours? I think it's kind of costly.
That's going to be costly. But on the flip side, too, I mean, if you don't have alcohol, how are you going to entertain? I don't care if you are the best DJ in the world. I don't care if you're the best band in the world. I don't care if you are Post Malone.
Right.
How are you going to entertain 40 people on a Sunday evening for 7 hours with no alcohol?
Not going to happen.
It's just not. So.
Because on the flip side, if the party is fun and you want to extend it, all DJs have an overtime fee, and I'm sure bands do. They'll gladly take your money to stay an extra hour. I love that. If I'm supposed to get up at 9 o'clock and I'm having a good time and they're having a good time, they want me to stay till 10. I'm not going anywhere. Just going to pack my stuff up and go home and make a little bit extra money. And DJs love it when that mode's right and they're dancing and having a good time and you're killing the dance floor. We don't mind staying another hour.
Yeah, and a lot of your vendors are going to be the same way. Your photographer, same way. Talk with them in advance. Hey, look, we're thinking that the wedding's going to go, 6 to 10. But if it's going to go till 11, can I pay you? What's your hourly fee to stay an extra hour? Because the worst thing that you would want to happen, Michael, is if your photographer leaves before the send off.
That is the worst thing because there's no picture stay, and it happens a lot.
It does.
It really happens a lot, and I feel bad because they've got the sparklers and there's nobody to take a picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So, that's just another one.
I mean, a lot of them have ironclad contracts. You must be out at a certain time, and it's a hefty fine if you stay past that time.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you really need to check out. Make sure, that you've got all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, just ask in advance, that everybody will work with you, trust me.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, a lot of things come into play with that. Other things that may come into play with length is again, if you do have children at your wedding, what are they going to do for X number of hours? Are you going to have coloring books? I mean, I have been to some weddings where they brought coloring books, they brought toys, they brought like the sand stuff for the kids playing outside. I mean, you got to think about that. Again, like we talked about, this attention span, Yeah,
and they get hyped up on sodas and cake, cookies and cake, and drive the DJ crazy. Kids can make that's another podcast, right? Children at weddings?
Right.
Okay, never mind. But children can add a lot to a ceremony and can destroy a reception. But you're right, you're keeping them up way past their bedtime. They're overtired. They're kids, right? Mom and dad are drinking a beer. They're having a blast. They don't get to go out. People don't go out anymore. Think about this. Back when, again, in the Stone Ages, when I was a young man.
Showing your age there again, Michael.
There were clubs, and we went dancing on the weekends, and we heard this music, and we had fun. People don't go to clubs and go dancing, not in the South anyway. So for a lot of people, I've always said this, it's a chance for a husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend to get dressed up a little bit, go have fun, go dance with your girlfriend, have a cocktail, get a picture made, and it is fun. So, I mean, it's a big deal, but the children's another topic, but they can kind of run that. But so, you got to, what Joe is saying is, think about all the time people invest prior to the ceremony and the reception. Are they really going to stay 8 hours for you?
Right. Yeah, it's going to be tough to keep people, and we don't want you to be disappointed. You know, I think
don't end a perfect day because people left early. Don't. Mean anything.
I can't tell you how many times I have seen disappointment on a bride's face because there was nobody left to do the bouquet and the garter toss. There was nobody left for the send off, and it was because they took 6 hours.
Yeah, and the kiss of death is the staged send off, the early departure. So that's when you want to extend it, but the photographer's got to leave, so we do a fake send-off. Let me tell you something. I'm good at what I do. I can say on the microphone, don't go anywhere. We're going to play music. Everybody leaves. Once you get them outside, they're gone. It's going to end the reception right. Very few times that people trickled back in and kept dancing. So you're going to ruin a really perfect day by just kind of having unreasonable expectations of people.
Right, exactly. It's a lot. You know, you're asking a lot of people, and a lot of time's precious.
Now. People are busy right now.
Yeah, definitely. So just all we're saying is respect people's time. Put yourself in their position. All the things we talked about. Getting ready, all those kind of things. What's it going to be like for you? I mean, heck, as a bride, you're getting ready at like 7, 8 o'clock that day. Right. You're there. You're committed all day. Groom's getting there a little bit later, right? But yeah, that length is huge. Another thing, we were talking a little bit about the day of the week, but also holidays. I've seen some holiday weddings recently.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of tough too, because people work hard, and then when a holiday comes around, they've got things they want to do, and they, like I said, they may love you, but they might not want to spend their Memorial Day with you or something. You know what I mean? Right? And I don't think you can't take it personal. It's just, I'd stay away from holiday weddings. I really would. Yeah, you can get the venue cheaper. I get it, but you have to stay away.
Yeah, that's one. And going back to what we were talking about, cost. If you have a longer wedding, I mean, think about it. People are going to eat more. They're going to drink more. They're going to. All these things are just going to keep adding up. And I think you were telling me the other day the stat on how much it costs for a wedding in the United States now.
So the average cost of a wedding, and this is in the South because it's different everywhere, is around $26,000, right? And if you do a 4-hour reception, 4-hour wedding, ceremony, reception, that's $115 a minute.
Did you say a minute?
A minute.
Guys, a
minute.
Get your watch out.
And
put
another
a minute.
we're going to do is we start talking about toast. Do you really want your bridesmaid to give a 17-minute long toast about when she met you in 3rd grade to the tune of about, $1,100? So what it's going to cost you. $115 a minute.
My jaw dropped when Michael told me this stat the other day. And this is just in the South. And I'm going to tell you, we're pretty cheap in the South.
26 is, because even if you go to where we live in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, it's actually $32,000. And I can imagine New York, LA, wherever you guys are listening, I mean, 26 is like, we kind of rednecks down here. It's a little bit cheaper down here, but that's still $114, $15 a minute.
Wow.
So think about that as you keep extending this thing out and out and out.
Wow. That is mind-boggling.
It really is. Yeah.
To think about that.
I need to raise my rates, man.
Something. Wow. Jeez Louise. But guys, in all seriousness, we just really want you to think about that length. Michael, what would you say that the perfect length is for the ceremony and the reception, total hours?
4 to 5.
4 to 5.
4 to 5 hours. I mean, if you know your crowd's a party crowd, I'd go 5. If I don't know, I think 4 hours. Yep. But you can get everything done, a great ceremony, all the things that need to be done. They can dance for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, have a couple cocktails, and go home. So I'd say 4 to. Now, other DJs may argue, but I think 4 to 5.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm a little bit closer to that 4-hour mark, but I agree with you. If you got a party crowd,
it depends on. And even though you do a first look, and I get into arguments with photographers, they will keep you for an hour after the ceremony. Now, if that's the case. And okay, to your point, you've had the ceremony, the photographer keeps you for an hour, and you're holding dinner until the first dance. Now they got to eat dinner. You're going to be 2.5 hours in this thing before I play any dance music. So if that's the case, 5 for sure, maybe 6. I think 5.
Yeah.
But if it's traditional hors d'oeuvres, they get married and then they come in and start eating food, 4 hours is plenty.
Yeah. That sounds good. Well, guys, we hope that you got some good information here today on the length of your wedding. We try to do our best to just, provide you with the pros and the cons, just give you some information to help you as you're planning your wedding. We know that, wedding planning can be very stressful. Like we said, with our experience, we get it, and we see so many different things that go on during the wedding. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate you, trying to help you and give you those resources, you know, so that way that you can have a perfect wedding, you can save some money, you know, and have a great time.
It should be the best day of your life. And we've got a lot of experience to give you some tips and tricks to help you, you know. Can't predict the weather for you, but we can sure help you, guide you to save money, have the best day of your life, and everybody goes, man, that was a fun party.
Yep, exactly. Well, we got a lot more great topics coming up on the Calling All Brides podcast. We want to thank you again for tuning in. Again, my name is Joe Cirillo, and
I'm DJ Michael.
And we will see you soon.